I don't get it. I don't understand why we talk about AOC so much. And she says things like, I want to talk about real issues like air that's drinkable. Listen
That
to
was
this.
the greatest quote.
Yes, listen to this.
That was phenomenal.
Check this. I even have a clip. Let me roll my clip. I'm trying to impress Will and his team. Chef, you're not going to take over this cooking show today. Roll that beautiful footage.
Instead of talking about real issues that affect our lives. Instead of talking about healthcare, instead of talking about wages, instead of talking about having air that's drinkable.
That's why I don't worry about AOC. Like the only people who should worry about AOC is the people in her district, those poor bastards that live in her district. Agree? Like, why do they act like she has this world, like the media plays like her decisions affect us? They don't. She's one vote.
At all. I think she just has great sound bites like that.
Yeah.
Like the
air that's drinkable. Yeah. I can hear the song now. All I need is the air that I can drink and to love you.
Here's my take on this quote, though. I think that AOC, she has a little bit of a leaky brain. And I'm not saying that as an insult. Many of us do, right? I think that she's young. She's on social media all the time. Like, things come in and they slip out. I think she was sitting in a meeting and they were talking about taxing the air and all in like some Democrat convention. And then she distilled that into this quote accidentally. So get ready for them to tax the air and sell us the straw.
But when you're in your position, you take it very seriously. You're not the same guy right now that you'd be on TV. You're prepared. You would not speak to your constituents without being prepared. You wouldn't say something so obnoxiously ignorant to say drinkable air and that's the thing is like, she's not even trying. They're just winging it. And I feel like when you see people who talk like that, that should only further let you know that you misplayed your vote terribly. I cannot think of any even on a TV show, if I was talking to you, if I was not prepared, and even though literally your name is Chef Gruel, and I talk to you about what's it like being a foreman on construction, how long would you stay in that interview with me where I'm like, so what's it like with 2x4s? What's that like for you? You know, you'd be like, I'm a chef. I don't believe that's accurate. And then if you call me out again, I'd be like, you know what? You're racist.
You know, that's a good point, actually. And I have like spoken at council meetings, and I'll myself saying the wrong thing and immediately correct myself and laugh about it. Like, oh, so that's a really good point. Why didn't she think, oh, I didn't mean drinking the air. That's so silly. How could I say that? That's hilarious. Instead, she just kept rolling with it.
Because she's trying to remember the talking point that she's supposed to speak. Nothing comes from them. Because she probably misread it. Like she probably mismemorized it. You know? It's like Ron Burgundy. They rolled the wrong thing on the teleprompter. So instead of saying F you, San Diego, she said air is drinkable, which unless you're a fish in the water, that's accurate. I don't know. Maybe she wants us all to live underwater. Maybe there's a utopia. Maybe she found Atlantis. You know, like this is what bothers me about town halls and the media. If I was there, I would have raised my hand and said, when it comes to drinkable air, how so? Like, please explain more. How are you going to make this happen? And they never do. They just let them say it. And then we're the weirdos for bringing it up.
Well, then it's Republicans pounce.
Right. And even it's just, we don't understand. I want to understand, you know, because here's a perfect example. You take an AOC who's just nonsense and never saw a camera she didn't like. And to me, I don't see how many laws has she passed since she's been in. I think I can tell you that one, goose egg. So apparently the job is to try to just get reelected or move on. That's at least my opinion. That's how it looks to me. Then you have a guy like Senator Fetterman who talks about common sense issues and roll this clip. Listen to this.
You know, I campaigned for thousands and thousands of miles across Pennsylvania for Vice President Harris. And it was going to be incredibly difficult. You could just feel the energy there. And people really have connected there at a very fundamental level. And that's what I tried to explain to my party. And I'm trying to explain to the party right now. It's like, this is why we lost. And this is where we need to be to continue to win for these things. And there are parts of extreme things emerging clearly on those things. And that's why I refuse to follow that, even if that is going to cost me support in parts of the base.
You know, what's crazy to me, Chef, is that this man has just survived a stroke, yet he makes more sense, speaks more clearer than pretty much anyone in the Democratic Party right now. And all he's doing is pushing common sense, right? I mean, you don't have to be a Democrat to respect what he says.
Mm-hmm.
That's totally true. And I feel like the left has gone so far left that like anybody who still agrees with them, they're crazy. They're the crazy ones.
I think it's interesting that Fetterman, that's how the Overton window is shifted. Fetterman now people are attacking as being somewhat seemingly conservative when
he's a Republican now because he just wants to get. There's the thing. We used to, in this country, when the other side won, it was if the Democrats win, it's the Republicans' job to work with them. Mm-hmm. Like every president, the first 100 days, it should be whatever you want. You won. You had the better message. The American people picked you. So these 100 days, whatever you're trying to get in, it should be universally respected and voted for. I think that should be set the tone. You don't have to agree with what the thing was, but the people spoke. And I feel like they do a really good job of making the people sound irrelevant, because they attack, like they're like, oh, Trump's border policies. He got voted in because of one of the many reasons, but was because of his stance on the border, was his stance on bringing law and order back to this country. And the fact that the AOC can't see that she's acting like the people who voted overwhelmingly, they didn't know what they're talking about. It's almost like an elitist, narcissistic kind of way of governing, to where they just can say whatever nonsense because they're not going to work. So it's same thing with the shutdown. If it wasn't President Trump in, do you think we even have a shutdown right now?
No, not at all. I think the Republicans would have come up with a continuing resolution and compromised. You're 100% right. If it was the Democrats in control, which kind of it is, but if they were in the White House,
and
certainly.
The things they're asking for go against what the American people voted for. And I kind of commend the president for not bending, because if you don't bend, the policies that they get in, the American people feel betrayed. I feel like it's that simple. And I don't, but really is. And do you think this will affect them? Is it too far out to hurt them in the midterms? Can they, because this isn't going to last forever.
Well, the unfortunate thing that we never consider is the way in which the media spins it. Well, we do consider it, but I think fundamentally this shouldn't hurt them at all. I actually think it should help them, because we haven't seen an effect from the shutdown. The media is trying to make it something bigger than it is. For example, the military's not going to get paid. And then Hegseth says, I'm going to do everything in my power. I'll find the money.
I believe Trump, the administration freed up resources to pay the military. I think the other thing was the TSA agents aren't going to get paid. So all the airports are going to be shut down.
Exactly. And that didn't happen. No. So it's kind of interesting that they keep trying to create this catastrophe that hasn't happened. And I think the lion's share of Americans don't even realize the government is shut down right now.